Keep your radio dial right here. You're locked into the hottest news station on the planet. Hot 702.5 in FM sound. Blazing today's hip-hop, R&B, and pop music. Keeping your radio on fire. Bringing you the hottest, realest, riskiest talk shows live 24/7 on hot7025fm.com.
It's your main man, 360 the Poet from the Morning Wood. And are you looking for the perfect drink? Well, you found it. Mimosa Royale is the perfect combination of California's sparkling white wine and natural juice that is both tasty and refreshing. No artificial colors or flavors, no sugar added, and it's gluten-free. As the world's first ready-to-drink mimosa, Mimosa Royale is perfect for any occasion, day or night. You no longer have to drink 12 of those seltzers just to get that perfect buzz. At 8% alcohol, Mimosa Royale is the perfect drink to party with. Offered in a variety of flavors and sizes, you are bound to find a Mimosa Royale that you'll love. We have berry, mango, apple, and orange, with more flavors to come. Mimosa Royale is the most award-winning flavored wine that serves in bottles or cans. You can find them online at drinkmimosa.com or find them at your local liquor store. Ask for it by name. Mimosa Royale.
Hi. Hey.
What's up? All your favorite artists.
Check it out. Say my name. DJ Khaled. This is Mila J. Bruno Mars.
On hot7025fm.com.
This is Kristen Gamer, and you are tuned into my mom, Kristie J.
E-Class Consulting. It's owned and operated by Kristie, providing tools, training, and resources that are sure to make you and your business even more successful. We are staffed with a marketing, credit, tax, and a real estate consultant. E-Class Consulting also provides a temporary admin service called E-Class Admins. Want to book an appointment with E-Class Consulting? Call 702-518-3002 or email book@eclassconsulting.com. E-Class Consulting, navigating you to greatness.
Come talk shit and politics with Kristie J from the Chisholm Report every Saturday at 10 a.m. on hot7025fm.com.
This is Hot 702.5.
It's Kristie J from the Chisholm Report. You're tuned in to Hot 702.5.
Yeah, election time's coming. Who you gonna vote for? Yeah, if I was president, I get elected on Friday, assassinated on Saturday, buried on Sunday, they go back to work on Monday. If I was president, if I was president, if I was president, yeah. Instead of spending billions on the war, I can use that money so I can feed the poor. Cause I know some so poor. When it rains, that's when they shower, scream and fight the power. That's when the vulture devours. If I was president, I get elected on Friday, assassinated on Saturday, buried on Sunday, they go back to work on Monday. If I was president, if I was president, if I was president, yeah. I know some soldiers that sleep but they can't dream, wake up with screams, sounds of M16. So take this medal of honor for your bravery. I wish you the best, kid, you and your family. If I was president, I get elected on Friday, assassinated on Saturday, buried on Sunday, they go back to work on Monday. If I was president, if I was president, if I was president. But the radio won't play this, they call it rebel music. How can you refuse it? Children of Moses, tell the children the truth, the truth. It's not all that bling that's diamond. Tell them the truth, the truth. Most of y'all wear cubic zirconians. Tell them the truth, yeah. Your soul is worth more than diamonds.
If I was president, all blacks, I have reparation, no segregation. Feed the nation so there's no famine. Muslims, Jews, Christians, with all whole hands. Every week on the beach, party by the sand. Word up, take trips on Air Force One. Don't need to bring the homeless with no sneaks to Air Force One. Better schools in the hood, better teachers for the classes. Making money, paying no tax. Find the best scientists, tell them come up with an answer. I want the cure for AIDS and cancer, but I gotta watch my back. Snipers on the hill with the steel, waiting to JF
I was president. I get elected on Friday, assassinated on Saturday, buried on Sunday. They go back to work on Monday. If I was president, I feel the rain coming. Let me play my guitar for them right now.
Let's go.
Refugees.
Good morning. Good morning. You are in with, this is Kristie J, and you're in on the Chisholm Report. This is where I like to be able to give you guys some additional information dealing with government and policy and politics and us knowing how it applies to our everyday life. So, welcome. Okay. I'm here every Saturday at 10 a.m. on Hot 702.5. So, before I get started, I just want to say my birthday is on the 5th, okay? And the 4th of July, there's a couple of different things going on for the 4th of July, but I just want to first tell y'all that it's my birthday, okay? And that I am very happy about my 26th birthday, okay? So thank you for all the cash apps and everything else that will be sent. Thank you. And I do like the chocolate dip strawberries, and I love homemade turtles. And you know who I'm talking about, okay? T's Country Bakes. I love you. All right. So let's go ahead and go into this. I have a political science degree from Southern University. I'm very passionate about my community, very passionate about my people understanding the guidelines of government and how it applies to us. So how I first start off my show is I want to be able to tell you that you can always advertise here at the radio station, hot702.5fm.com. We are always pushing for not just black business, but small business, for individuals to be able to express themselves and have an open platform without you being censored. So this is the place to be. And I am the advertising director here. And give me a phone call. You can reach me at Kristie at hot 7025 FM. .com. Anyway, okay, so let's go ahead and go into the city events. If you want me to be able to promote any type of promotion events that you're doing, you can always send that information in. We do have great packages for that. But I want to say that I have 3 events for city of North Las Vegas, and I want to be able to push them out. So one is the Unplug and Play Toys event. This event will be on July the 8th, and it starts at 8:30 p.m. and 8:30 a.m. to 11:30 a.m. This is at the Liberty Park, which is the municipal government building, okay? And that is at 2250 Las Vegas Boulevard, and that's 89030. Okay, this is a free event for the family, for the kids to come, and they're going to have toys for them to be able to take home and giveaways. So great way to start your day. Also on July the 6th, City of North Las Vegas is also doing Parks and Rec. That's basically just the pool area, and they're doing a big party out there with some DJs and some activities, games, and giveaways out there also. This is on July the 8th, and it is from 2 p.m. to 5 p.m. at the Silver Mesa Pool, which is 4025 Allen Lane, okay, and that is also North Las Vegas 89032, okay. And then to gear up, you guys know that for some reason school is starting early for kids every year. I feel like this is normally they go at the end of August. Now they're going like more at the beginning of August. So July the 29th from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. You have the back to school giveaway. So they're doing backpacks and school supplies and things like that for the kids. And that will be at the neighborhood Rec Center, which is 1638 North Bruce Street, and that is in North Las Vegas 89030. These are all 3 free events, so if you're looking for stuff for you and your kids to do, and you know you a little short on cash, there is things that you can be able to find for you and your kids to do. You can always look on Eventbrite. They always have free stuff on there. I look on Facebook. I look to in their event area to see what's going on. But I know how it is having kids at home during the summer, and you're seeing them every day, and you don't want them sitting there playing video games all day, watching TV all day, just eating snacks all day, sleeping until like 5:00 p.m. type stuff. So to be able to make sure that you can get your kids out, this is a great idea, and I will always do that for you and give you community events about what's happening each and every week. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and go into the local news, and my first story is more than 200 laws that will go into effect starting today, July the 1st. And here in Nevada, we have a couple of different ones. I want you guys to hear these the laws that went into place for July the 1st. Let's go ahead and go into the clip, and we'll discuss it afterwards.
July 1st, and that means new state laws will be going into effect.
Yeah, from minimum wage increases to new gun laws and health care bills, more than 200 new laws are bringing changes. Terry Russell from our sister station in Reno has more.
Punitive damages are sometimes awarded in court to send a message to not only the offender, but also society as a whole. When it comes to drunk driving where bodily harm or death results, a law dating back to the 80s stated punitive damages could only be awarded if the defendant knew they would be getting behind the wheel of a vehicle. With the new law, that has changed.
So it's clear that if you get drunk and you drive, you're subject to punitive damages.
Other new laws which go into effect July 1st, those serving on jury duty can look forward to a raise. Instead of $40, they can anticipate getting $65 a day for their time. Women who fill their prescription for birth control pills can get a 12-month supply in one visit under a new Nevada law. Energy companies asked for and received a new law requiring the sale of Mylar balloons be sold with the weight attached to them. If someone is caught selling balloons without the weight, they could face a $50 fine for each balloon or a $2,500 fine for each day a violation occurs. License plates no longer have to be renewed every 8 years. You can keep the one you have or apply for a duplicate or substitute plate if so inclined. A landlord can no longer charge a tenant for repairs or maintenance of a unit if such work is required to keep the area habitable.
Also taking effect tomorrow, Rex's Law, which increases fines and imposes harsher penalties for reckless drivers. Another law will make it illegal to place a tracking device in someone's car without their permission. Also, if you buy a gun starting July 1st, you must include a gun lock.
Okay, so I also have AB 232, and this is basically the tax break, basically saying that the cigarettes is $10. Okay, that's what they're going to charge for cigarettes here in Nevada. I know that California, I'm not sure if they're totally banning that. Call in, California. Let me know if they banning y'all cigarettes. But I know here they say that they will be a cut amount of $10. Okay. I also have previously for that law, also they had 30% on cigarettes, but now they're just putting it as a straight $10 cost, no additional tax. I also have AB 122. which is smoking cigarettes inside of the casino. They still are not allowing you to smoke cigarettes inside of the casino. I have AB 272, and this is under federal law to carry for 1 to 4 years. Like if you will get a 1 to 4 year sentence if you are caught stealing people's packages off of their doorstep. Okay, so that is going into effect for all y'all who stole my dress last year for my birthday. Okay, and then returned it to me 2 days after my birthday, and it was already worn. Thank you so much. You gonna go to jail. Okay, that was wrong. 8. I have AB 408, and this is for reckless driving. They talked about that in the video. I have Senate Bill 163, and that is being able to add in cosmetic surgery and gender addition, reassignment to your insurance. Okay. I believe that's it. I did have some other. They went over Rex law, and they went over the gun law. So, 200 laws went into place for today. Please go and find out what is going to help you, what is not going to help you. Make sure that you are aware of those things that happen, and then, you guys, it's important that we are involved in doing our civil duties, making sure that you are going to be filling out and making sure that you complete jury duty so you can make sure people have a real chance. Okay, if you are not there, if you're not present for let's say a black man, a young black man that you think probably, hey, you know what, he probably just had a bad background. You kind of identify with his background, and you feel like, you know what, he probably made a mistake. Let's do something to change his life, not just send him to jail. It is our fault that we are not represented, okay, and not being able to give these kids a break, because the people the jurors do not either look like them, do not understand their background, don't understand their culture, and then they sentence them as just criminals and not as people. So let's make sure that we're doing that also. Okay. Dealing with Nevada law, helping homeowners in the Windsor Park area. You guys, I've talked about this story a couple different times, and I have Miss Dina Neal, who is amazing. She's basically a queen of Vegas. Okay. She stepped in to make sure that this law and others pushed this law to make sure that these people were going to be compensated for their homes that have been sinking. Okay, so if you are not familiar with Windsor Park in North Las Vegas, for years, I mean, like going on like 30 years, they've been having the issues of their foundations sinking here in Las Vegas. Okay. They offered the people money, and it was more like offering them like $20,000-$30,000 for a home that they purchased and was worth more than $200,000. Okay, they kept trying to push these people out, but the whole time they're pushing these people out, they're building businesses on that same land that they're saying is sinking. So Ms. Dina Neal and others decided to push a push on this and make sure that they got this signed for the people to be compensated, either moving into a new home or being able to rebuild their foundation to be able to make sure their home is standard and stationed. So let's go ahead and go into this clip. We'll talk about it on the other end.
Nearly 100 homeowners in the Windsor Park community are finally experiencing some relief after a decades-long housing battle. Hello, and thanks for joining us tonight live at 11. I'm Trisha Keene. The neighborhood has been slowly sinking, but a new law that was just passed is lifting the spirits of those affected. Our Alyssa Bethencourt has a story from North Las Vegas.
Vacant lots can be seen on almost every block in North Las Vegas's Windsor Park neighborhood. It's the result of a sinking community that forced many residents to leave, while others stuck around hoping their request for change would finally be heard. Cracked sidewalks in North Las Vegas's Windsor Park neighborhood tell the story of a community literally coming apart. Residents like Myrtle Wilson first moved to the area in the 1960s, having no idea of what would happen just a few years later.
It really started going downhill.
Images show cracks in the walls and on the floor. It's the result of homes being built over fault lines and aquifers. As groundwater pooled over the years, foundations began to crumble, homes started to sink, and many residents moved out.
It's important that the people know that this is not just a desolate place, that people do still live here.
For years, the community has longed for justice and solutions, and finally, their pleas were heard. Senator Dina Neal stepping in to make a change.
They were forgotten about. I honestly believe that they didn't care about them, and they were willing to let them pass away without a remedy.
For 4 years, Neal and other officials worked to draft Senate Bill 450. The legislation was designed to relocate Windsor Park residents to new homes of at least equal square footage built on vacant land adjacent to where they live now. Governor Joe Lombardo signing it into law in June. While the cracks in the ground may remain, the changes mend the frustration felt by so many for so long.
It is wonderful that we are all going to be getting new homes built on proper soil and that we can live out our last days in peace and happiness.
Now, residents in the area are being given the option to move into a newly constructed home not too far from where this neighborhood is. I'm told construction on those homes will begin sometime next year. Reporting in North Las Vegas, I'm Melissa Bethencourt.
As they should. Thank you, Ms. Dina Neal. If you guys do not know who this woman is and you're looking for a mentor here in Las Vegas, she is a great person to know. So make sure that you guys look into Ms. Dina Neal. I've had her on the show before. She is a great woman, and her policies and everything that she's pushing for us, you guys, is legendary. So, Ms. Dina Neal, you're welcome back at any time. Okay. All right. So, here in Las Vegas, okay. You know, let me start by saying this. My grandmother, when she was going through her dementia and stuff like that, would answer the phone and sit and have like 2-hour conversations with what were scammers and telemarketers and stuff like that, right? And they would ask her for her credit cards. And by this time, my family had realized that my grandmother wasn't, she knew what she was doing, but she didn't know what she was actually doing. Okay, so she'll be sitting there giving them her AARP card number, okay, her membership at the credit union number, but it's not the credit card number. You know what I'm saying? So I'm saying that because there's always scammers and stuff like that prey upon like the elderly and the disabled. Here in Las Vegas, we have a crazy person running around impersonating a Southwest gas employee, okay, and he is basically going to all these different houses, and when the people, like, if they have Ring or something, like, hey, what are you doing? He was like, oh yeah, I work for Southwest Gas, I'm just here doing a check or whatever. And then most of the people wouldn't think anything about it, and then just, like, oh, okay, and they just go about their day when he's actually like casing their house, okay. So there was a neighbor who actually caught him and was like, nah, you don't sound right. He called in to try to make sure he knew if they knew that this person was out there. And this is basically what's happening with the story. I have a clip about it. We're going to go ahead and go into the clip, and then we'll discuss it after.
Some Ring video captured a Southwest Gas impersonator going door to door, checking gas meters. This was in a neighborhood in the Southwest Valley.
Fox 5's Danny Maston spoke with one man who shares exactly what happened.
An unexpected visitor for an unexpected service created confusion and unanswered questions for one man yesterday morning who lives in the Southwest Valley.
I got a notification from my Ring camera saying someone was on the side of my house.
Ring video capturing this man going house to house claiming to be a Southwest Gas employee.
Yeah, I'm with the gas company. You check the gas meter?
I told him, well, I'm not there. His response was, it's okay. He could get a laser gun and check meters later.
The homeowner, who does not want to be identified, tells me he felt something was off, so he called the gas company.
And they told me no, they did not have anyone in our neighborhood doing that inspection.
After explaining what the man in the ring video was wearing, Southwest Gas also confirming their employees don't wear the neon safety vests.
They'll have on, I believe she said, like a company shirt.
I asked the homeowner what he thought the man was trying to accomplish.
He was casing to see who's home, who's not home. That was, if you look at the video, that's kind of what I got.
He says he is not worried about his safety, but is worried for his elderly neighbors who live in the area. I'm Danny Maston, Fox 5 News, local, Las Vegas.
So watch your house. Make sure that you are checking those people's credentials and ask them to leave a card or, a badge number or something, so you know that you're being safe. You don't know who these people are in this. This is weird. Like, what do you want? Why are you doing that? And then run around with the wrong outfit on. Okay? Anyway. Also, speaking of Southwest Gas, NV Energy has decided that they are going to reduce costs for customers this year. Okay? This also goes into effect July the 1st. They're trying to take at least 5 to 13% off of you guys. Because in the last year it went up 17.7%. And this is basically they just waiting for the approval to be able to go ahead and give you guys that discount. Now, if you notice that until we got solar, Nevada Energy was the only source of energy that you could purchase out here. Okay, so here in Southern Nevada. And they had a monopoly on everything. And basically, they didn't care. You would call in and be like, hey, I'm having a problem. And it was so many different outages and everything else. They really have stepped their game up in the last couple of years because they saw that there were other companies that were coming in. Okay. And they were not going to have the monopoly. And with all the bad blood and the complaints and stuff, they were going to lose a lot of people. So kudos to you trying to give back to the people because we need it. Okay. All right. I'm going into national news. I'm going to talk about the Supreme Court ruling against the Lajabatiqua community. Okay. And the student loan relief. We want to be able to make sure that we are being careful about the things that they are doing. Okay, because it can be a trickle down effect. So let's go ahead and go into the clip and we'll discuss it after.
Breaking news in Washington, D.C. In the past few hours, the Supreme Court has ruled on two major rulings. The first allows certain businesses to refuse service to LGBTQ plus people.
Now, the court also ruled against President Joe Biden's student loan forgiveness plan. We're expecting Mr. Biden to address the ruling later today. ABC's M. Nguyen breaks down these rulings.
In a major Supreme Court decision impacting the LGBTQ plus community, justices ruled 6-3 in favor of an evangelical Christian web designer from Colorado who refused to work on same-sex weddings. The 6 conservatives on the court held the First Amendment right to free speech bars the state from forcing the plaintiff, Lori Smith, from creating designs with messages to which she disagrees. Colorado's anti-discrimination law prohibits discriminating against LGBTQ plus people and requires that any business that's open to the public must serve all equally. Smith claimed obeying that law would force her to endorse gay marriage and violate her First Amendment right.
A website is my canvas, and I cherish the freedom to express unique and custom messages that celebrate causes that I'm passionate about.
Justice Neil Gorsuch wrote that Colorado would seek to force Smith to defy her conscience about a matter of major significance. The dissent firing back with Justice Sonia Sotomayor writing, there has been a backlash to the movement for liberty and equality. New forms of inclusion have been met with reactionary exclusion. This is heartbreaking. And the Supreme Court also dealt a major defeat to the Biden administration, ruling against the president's student loan forgiveness program, which would have wiped out up to $20,000 in debt for millions of borrowers. The White House had approved the plan under the HEROES Act, but Republican states pushed back, accusing the administration of executive overreach. The court agreed with the states. A source within the White House says they strongly disagree with this ruling against Biden's student loan forgiveness plan, saying the president is not done fighting yet. At the Supreme Court, M. Wynn, ABC News.
Okay, so we're going to talk about the student loan thing in the next clip. But for right now, okay, just like it is your right, okay, to fight for whatever it is that is your cause, it is also the right of a business owner to refuse you service if they don't want to serve you. And I feel like this goes all the way back to civil rights, and for when they were sitting in these diners letting people pour milk on them, spit on them, and beat them about sitting in this diner when they should have been at Aunt B's chicken and waffles, okay, making her a millionaire like they could have. Community, you do not make the same mistakes that we did, okay, by trying to fit in with them. You have so much of a platform. Go to a gay place that wants to be able to support gay people, not in a bad way. What I'm saying is, why would you want to make somebody that already said that they want to do your stuff, okay, and you're going to pay them for a service that they probably go half-ass? No. Support your people. Go to a gay event planner and let her or him or she or them be able to help you and build within yourselves, because black people, we did that shit, and the same thing with the affirmative action, okay? They were able to, there's two ways to affirmative action, okay? One is, yeah, you can get somebody in that they ain't never, that they would have never looked at. But the second thing about it is it's only a quota, okay? So instead of us having our own black firms, law firms, now is only 2 of them that's allowed at this other law firm, and this will never be their law firm because they are not Spencer and Check. They're not Limbisky and Bikin. You know what I mean? That's not their business. So now they are struggling to be able to keep a position because they can only keep 2. Okay, so just like a worn out shoe, once you worn out, you get replaced, right? So we made that decision to do that. And then in the same breath, we crippled black business. Okay. We crippled the black community by moving out of the black community and moving to these neighborhoods where they throwing rocks in your damn house and hanging up dolls and stuff and setting them on fire, lynching them in your front yard. It was not a good objective for me. If you have an attitude about it or you feel a certain way, call 702-515-5261. I stand on this, that we crippled ourselves, and it was not a good, smart fight for us to go in there and try to force these white people to feed us when they would go spit in our food or not cook it right or refuse to serve you or call you niggas and all the rest of that stuff and nigga pies and all the rest of that crap. You did that to yourself when we could have been making sure that the person that actually had KFC's real recipe, the person that really made it, her chicken place, okay, could have been striving, okay? But we didn't. We sent all our kids over to Harvard and Princeton and Yale and all these schools, okay, that have quota about how many kids they can let in of color, all right? And then wonder why he sprained his ankle real bad. Now all of a sudden they kicking him out of school because he don't have $30,000 a semester to be able to play. Okay, and now he got to go to a JUCO and then jump into a black college when by this time he's 2-3 years behind and he already old as hell. You know what I'm saying? When we could have supported ourselves. Along with saying black schools, I have an announcement. There is a possibility that I might be having a very, very big scholar come in and be able to speak with us come next week. Or whenever, very soon. Hopefully we can go ahead and get Dr. Umar Johnson here, and he's going to sit with me and be able to talk with us about plans of the future, black people, black economics, black education, black mental, and talk about his school and talk about the other ventures that he has going on. So hopefully you guys... I'm so excited. Okay, so hopefully we'll get that done for you guys, and you guys check back in next Saturday. Okay. But yeah, I wanted to be able to speak on that because don't make the same mistakes that we made, okay? And now right now they just overturned affirmative action, meaning that there are all those black students that they were fighting to keep into these schools, even though they had higher grade point averages, because they had better study skills, social skills, are now in jeopardy of losing these positions because affirmative action goes away. But it also allows those major scholars to be able to endorse and go to what I would say a black school and enjoy. So with student loans, though, let's talk about that. Okay, so we got the student loans coming out. They're basically saying that you're gonna have to pay that. Okay, so very quickly, you need to go ahead and see what companies are still doing forgiveness and try to get that on the books. So then while they're fighting it, okay, you will be able to reap the benefits of being able to either wait on it, or you'll already be in a program where they can help to reduce it so it doesn't mess with your credit and everything else. So first, let me say this about affirmative action dealing in schools. Okay, when you have the affirmative action in the schools, I feel like it's a quota, just like in a job. Okay, that kid is subject to so much of, if you do not perform, then you cannot be here. And that's with any school. That is with any school. You should have that in mind, that if you are not performing, you cannot be here. But now these schools that are charging, okay, that you would want on your credentials, Princeton, Harvard, Yale, okay, if you come from a background where your parents only made $50,000 a year and the tuition is $75,000 a year, you are not. They're trying to say, well, maybe you should lower your goals. Instead of, I went to school all my life, got straight A's, I have better grade point averages than most of the kids at this school, and now I'm being subject to just, they only taking 10 because I'm black. Not because they looked at what are the best scores that we have in the country. We want those students. It's who can pay for education. Okay, so I just wanted us to be able to look into that and talk about that for a little bit. I do have a clip on this, and I want you guys to go ahead and listen to it, and we'll discuss it afterwards.
What does this decision mean for the future of our universities in our area and what their racial and ethnic makeup will look like? Melissa Kim joins us now with how some local students and professors are reacting to the decision. What did they share with you?
Well, Leslie, it's actually kind of difficult to find people who wanted to talk about this. But what I did notice in talking to students, professors, and lawmakers today is that this is an issue that people want to be thoughtful and well educated about before they voice their opinion. But what they all agree on is that this decision is going to change how students apply and choose which colleges they decide to go to.
Obviously, it's a really terrifying decision.
Isabel Jernigan is a junior at North Carolina Central University, a historically black college, a choice that she made because she wanted to experience a different perspective.
I've been exposed to so much more than I would have been if I chose to go to a predominantly white university. And I'm really grateful for it.
She disagrees with the Supreme Court's ruling on affirmative action because
it's just like shutting people down and closing people out.
Meanwhile, Maryland Congressman Glenn Ivey, who represents Prince George's County, was not happy with the Supreme Court's decision.
I was disappointed but not surprised,
saying it will change the landscape of what student populations look like, especially at schools where the acceptance rate is less than 5%, like Harvard, where the congressman is an alum.
I think it could have some impact on, how many people get into, for example, the highly selective schools.
But what will this do in the big picture of education in America? Well, according to Professor Jamil Jaffer at the Antonin Scalia School of Law at George Mason University, it further highlights the inequities among students based on socioeconomics.
What we have to recognize as a nation is that we are not treating everybody the same way when it comes to their educational opportunities, right? And we can't just solve for that problem when you get to college through a race-based methodology.
Which could have a trickle-down effect on schools like Thomas Jefferson High School for Science and Technology in Alexandria. WUSA 9 followed this story closely for years. A federal appeals court upheld the constitutionality of a new admissions policy that critics said discriminated against Asian American students.
To the extent that race is a critical factor in deciding who gets or doesn't get into TJ, that may have to change as well.
Okay, so I wanted you guys to get a gist of what's going on with it. Now I need you to understand how they use it, how they use affirmative action dealing with schools and stuff like that. So this is going to give us some gist to what they're talking about. Let's go ahead and go into the clip and we'll discuss.
The Supreme Court will likely decide if affirmative action can be used in the college admissions process this week. The two cases before the court build off decades of debate and legal challenges. Lana has more on this.
So to increase representation, the Supreme Court has upheld a university's right to use race-conscious measures in the admissions process, but it can only be a one factor in a holistic approach. Universities, for example, can't use a quota or formulaic system that would assign all underrepresented minority applicants a higher point value than others. Affirmative action's legality has repeatedly been challenged and upheld by the Supreme Court multiple times. The most significant challenges occurred in 1978, 2003, and in 2016. Each of those times, the justices maintained that there is a compelling state interest to consider race in university admissions because of the benefits to all students from having a diverse campus. But the court also stresses that the policies need to be revisited periodically to ensure that they are narrowly tailored and still necessary. And that issue is what came up multiple times during arguments in the two cases that are currently before the court. Students for Fair Admissions versus Harvard College and its sister case filed by the same organization against the University of North Carolina. The cases utilize two different arguments against affirmative action's constitutionality. In the Harvard case, it argues that the policy violated Title VI of the Civil Rights Act by discriminating against Asian American applicants who are often overrepresented based on their population size at Harvard University. In the North Carolina case, well, the plaintiffs there argued that affirmative action violates the Equal Protection Clause in the 14th Amendment because it does not need to consider race in order to achieve a diverse student body.
Which is bullshit. So, yes, you guys. So that's how they use it. Okay, and they basically say, "Oh, we can only take 10%." Not saying that, hey, we're just going to take the top students in the country, because that's what their name of their school stands on, is that when you go to Harvard, when you go to Yale, when you go to Princeton, this is the best school in the country, and and only the best students should come out of there, not just, oh, I could pay for it. It should be about your grades, right? It shouldn't be about your color or your finances, and that's what I mean by education. So so that's what we're dealing with right now. Make sure that you guys are educating yourself about these bills that's coming about, because this is going to affect our children moving forward. Okay. Speaking of children, okay, so just to let you know, in California, and I guess a couple of different other places in the country, jaywalking is no longer a crime. Now, when I was on a church trip to California, we had went to Magic Mountain. Okay, and we were coming back from the Denny's or something like that was across the street from the hotel. My brother at the time was maybe 13, 14 years old, but he's a big guy or whatever. He was trying to come straight across the street from the restaurant that we were at to the hotel and got pulled over by the police. Okay, they had him spread eagle on the car. We don't know what to think of this, because first of all, we don't do that. He is not a criminal. We are on a church trip, okay? And they had guns drawn on us because we were like, hey, wait, what's going on? And they pulled their guns out on us and everything. So I'm glad to know that this was a way also here in Las Vegas for the police to be able to pull you over, to run their sirens and come and run your background or your play or your ID by using this law to say that you were jaywalking, you were crossing the street without being at a crosswalk. Also here in Nevada, they used the face in a hamburger, which is a law, saying that you took off the lettuce, tomato, and pickle and onion off your hamburger, which is against the law here. Stupid, but that's what it is. So I'm glad that this goes away, because this means that they can't just, you know, say, hey, I see two Hispanic guys walking across the street and I feel like harassing them, or I feel like seeing if they have papers, or seeing if they have identification, because if they don't have identification, then they're supposed to put you in the back of the squad car. That means that there's going to be a motion and stuff, and people get upset, or, you know, things like that, and it can escalate. So I'm glad that they have decided to not allow this to be a law anymore. No way for them to be able to say, I want to be able to pull them over for silly shit. Okay. If you didn't know, last week that the Republicans tried to impeach Biden. Now, once again, I told y'all Biden is not my dude. He's not my guy. Okay. But this is silly, okay, because it really doesn't have anything to do with anything. Like, she tried, the senator that tried to impeach him didn't even have the backing from the actual Republicans, and she basically made herself look silly, and it made it look like impeachment is nothing. It's taking away the power of impeachment by just saying, oh, I just feel like he's just not doing a good job, so I'm going to impeach him, but not really have anything on the back of it to be able to impeach him. She didn't have nothing on it. But I have a clip about it. Let's go ahead and go into the clip, and then we'll discuss at the end.
A Republican Congresswoman has called for the House to take on impeachment of US President Joe Biden, but her request has left some of her colleagues unimpressed.
Depending on your viewpoint, President Biden could be staring at an impeachment investigation, or this could shelve an impeachment effort driven by the most conservative voices in the House.
This impeachment inquiry is something that the American people are demanding.
Colorado Republican Lauren Boebert accused her GOP colleagues of dithering, talking a good game about impeachment with no action.
I was tired of politicians telling us something that we wanted to hear back home, getting to where we send them and trust them to be our voice, and doing something completely different.
Boebert circumvented GOP leaders, crafting a special resolution to compel the House to consider impeachment articles with no committee hearings or investigation. House Speaker Kevin McCarthy was not impressed.
Anytime you take something this serious, you don't just flippantly put something on the floor.
Some Republicans accuse Boebert of cheapening impeachment.
We can't turn impeachment into the equivalent of a vote of no confidence in the British Parliament.
Conservatives could torch McCarthy and Republicans if they killed Boebert's measure, but impeachment may be too extreme for some Republicans. So McCarthy decided the House would vote to refer Boebert's impeachment gambit to the Judiciary and Homeland Security Committees for investigation.
All right.
Who knows what else we're going to find? I mean, I've already cited 11 laws that have been violated.
It's just extra, okay? Focus on what the hell we need and stop doing all this extra shit. It's unnecessary for us to be talking about, like, I don't think it is the government's right to tell me anything about who I'm sleeping with, or who, if I decide to have a baby, okay, or if I decide to be a man or be a woman. I don't think that that's something that the government should have anything to do with. If my money adds up for me to be able to go and do it, I should be able to do what I want to do. It's supposed to be a free land. Okay, same thing with if you don't want it. If you don't want an abortion, don't get it. Okay, but it has nothing to do with you. And then Shonda or Keisha or Samantha or Maria down the street don't have nothing to do with you. So you shouldn't be clocking her cooch. Okay, you shouldn't have nothing to do with. If I want to be a gay man and I want to marry a gay man, it shouldn't have nothing to do with you. Okay, it shouldn't have nothing to do with me. Okay, then if I don't like that, then I don't have to engage. I don't have to go if I don't want to. You know, so it bothers me that y'all sit up and y'all worry about stuff that don't have nothing to do with actual government. The government would be, hey, why the hell are y'all still having issues with water in this country, having lead and poison? Why are the infrastructures around the country falling, bridges, highways and things like that, and y'all not putting no money into it because y'all sitting up and y'all worried about the wrong shit? I'm so tired of when I get on when I'm listening to what's supposed to be political news and it sounds like reality show shit. Okay, it's just really irritating because you really should be focused on the homeless situation, the housing market, the inflation. None of that has anything to do with what I do on my personal day. And that's where I would say I would like my government to be. Get in the box, okay? Get into what the government is as a box, all right? So with that being said, another thing that the government is approving is lab-grown meat being approved to sell to you, okay? I'm not sure if I was a representative that was going against this bill, okay, I would have the best chef in the world come and cut up and make some food with this lab meat and have these senators who's trying to push this shit eat it. You want us to eat it? Go ahead and eat this and tell me how delicious it is to you. And you eat it for a week straight. Let's see how you feel. But because it's a money thing, this is what happens. Let's go ahead and go into the clip and then we'll discuss after.
Back with the new lab-grown chicken that was just approved for sale in the U.S. Could be headed to your dinner plate. Devin Dwyer has the details. Good morning, Devin.
Hey, good morning, George. Americans ate 75 billion pounds of red meat and chicken last year. But what if some of that meat was not raised on farms, but instead of high-tech facilities? Scientists say that could be good for the environment and your health, and soon it could be on menus and store shelves.
This morning, the USDA has approved cell-cultivated meat to be sold to the public for the first time.
So that's where it all starts, just a few cells.
2 cultivated meat producers now getting the green light to begin commercially selling their chicken, not raised on a farm, but in a facility. The meat is grown using real animal cells and large bioreactors fed with nutrients. I recently got a tour of California-based Upside Foods, the nation's first and largest cultivated meat producer.
You're making chicken in there.
Yeah, so if you look at this is approximately a 200+ liter tank. And we take cells from a chicken or an egg. It takes 2 weeks to grow the equivalent of one chicken, 1,000 chickens, or 100,000 chickens.
So you're saying in this factory, you can make more meat faster and cleaner than an average farmer?
Well, ultimately, yes.
The company says cell-cultivated meat could help feed the world's booming population using a fraction of the land and water of animal farming.
Okay, I'm not for it. Look, disgusting. Okay, my question is, are they subject to tell us that it is lab-grown meat? And if this meat, what effects do we have going forward? Okay, like, is the meat going to mutate inside of the body, or what chemicals are they actually using other than just the few animal cells? What other chemicals are you using to make this meat? So yuck, I'm totally against it. It's a thumbs down for me. Okay, so I want to go ahead and go into some international news. France is in the middle of basically the third or fourth day of protests about a police officer shooting a North African boy, which is actually that's his origin. Okay, he is born and raised in France. He's a French black guy. Okay, and they shot him, said that he wouldn't stop the car. Let's go ahead and go into the clip and then we'll discuss.
Out to the crackdown in France after violent protests sparked by the fatal police shooting of a 17-year-old of North African descent. Protesters have clashed with police, set cars on fire, and vandalized shops, hundreds under arrest. ABC's Tom Sufi-Burridge is in Paris tonight. Tom, good evening.
Yeah, with violent demonstrations underway in major French cities for a 4th consecutive night. Riots are breaking out right across the country this week after the deadly police shooting of a 17-year-old French boy of North African descent on Tuesday. Prosecutors say the teen was shot after he failed to stop his car when told to do so by police. An officer now under investigation for voluntary homicide. French President Macron calling the riots unacceptable and unjustifiable, blaming social media for spreading copycat violence. Tonight, 45,000 police officers on the streets to try and quell the violence. Whit?
Tom, our thanks to you tonight.
All right.
Hi, everyone.
Quickly, I'm just going to go over the fact that the Pentagon is speaking about the reports of the purge of Russian governors because Putin feels like, well, they basically just cut ties with Putin. Putin is now under surveillance. They are trying to make sure that he is safe, but he is worried about assassination and being overthrown because his military governors have basically said that they are no longer supporting him in his cause. You guys, thank you again. It is the Chisholm Report. I am Kristie J. I appreciate you guys coming in every Saturday to sit with me and talk this shit in politics. If you see somebody out there grinding, let them know you see them shining, and I will see you guys next week, same time. I love you.
Yeah, election time's coming. Who you gonna vote for? Yeah, if I was president, I'd get elected on Friday, assassinated on Saturday, buried on Sunday. They go